And let's go straight into the conversation. Very quickly, we have the SSA to the President on Community Engagement, North Central. Dr. Abiodun Essiet joins us this morning. Good morning and thank you for being here. Thank you so much. I mean, taking a look at the updates and the latest, what makes this peace talk different from other talks held in the past? And what were the key objectives? What's the drive behind this peace talk? Is it any way different from what we've seen in the past few weeks, where President Donald Trump had spoken from the United States, and it seems like he kind of ruffled up a lot and everyone seems to be acting very quickly? Or is it an initiative that has been in existence and it has no correlation with what I just mentioned?
Okay, thank you so much for that. So our office has been engaging in peace dialogue, deliberate dialogue for over a year now across the North Central region. Specifically in Plateau State, I've visited Plateau State 5 times within 1 year to engage people in the community, document concerns and needs. I actually launched the North Central Peace Summit in Jos, where we had former Chief of Defense Staff. I had a fireside chat with him in June this year in Jos as well, where we also documented some of the concerns and also put the question to the Chief of Defense Staff on some of the concerns of the community across the North Central. So it's a continuous engagement, and Mr. President is committed to that continuous engagement, making sure that the citizens are the center stage of governance, the citizen concerns are prioritized, and we document reports from the community on daily basis to Mr. President. Since our Zoom office, I've submitted over 150 community reports to Mr. President on concerns in my community across the North Central region. And what the visit I did 3 days ago was just in line with what we have been doing, we have been embarking on for the past 1 year. So it's a continuous process, a continuous peace talk. And most of the people I engage have actually visited my office as well in Abuja. The different diverse group have visited my office in Abuja on several occasions, and I made a promise to them that when I visit again, I was going to call them to a closed-door meeting and discussion to address some of the gray areas that they've identified. So that has been a continuous process and peace dialogue that we've been doing for the past 1 year.
Okay, I'd also like you to share with us some of the next steps you've talked about. You said, this has been going on for the past 1 year. So what would you say are the next steps? Are there markers that we should expect maybe in the next 3 months, in the next 1 month? What would you say are the next steps?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm sure your cameraman also captured the town hall meeting that we did on Thursday in Jos, where we gathered over 17 stakeholders from across 17 local governments in the Plateau State in a room to discuss about our community peace structures. So on Thursday last week, we launched the community peace structures in Plateau State, which is the 3rd state in the North Central. We started by launching the one for Kogi State around October, and we also did the one for Benue State around October as well. So Plateau State is the 3rd state we're actually launching the community peace structure, and that was done. So the essence of the community peace structure is to continue the deliberate dialogue that we have started with community for over 1 year, for communities of diverse interests and groups to continue to engage one another, to address concerns, and also find a way to resolve conflicts among themselves. So it's something we're doing in partnership with the Plateau State Peace and Reconciliation Commission, because they are the state-owned commission that have been given that mandate. And for the sustainability of our peace structures, we are partnering with them for them to sustain the community peace structure we just launched. And we're bringing people, so the immediate structure we're setting up in Plateau State constitutes about 10 stakeholders: the traditional leaders, the NCWA, the women groups, the youth group, the MACBA, the Miyetti Allah groups, the Association of Farmers, and different interest groups form the immediate structures that we have set up across the 17 local governments in Plateau State. So what we'll be doing is to monitor those structures. They are meant to address immediate conflicts or any issues that they notice at their community level before escalating into the state or before escalating into our office. They are meant to also give us feedback on what is going on in their communities and reporting live incidents with verified evidence on what is going on in their community to our office, and will take action in partnership with the security agencies so that those community concerns are prioritized and addressed immediately. And we've done that in 3 states across the North Central now. So we're going to other states across the North Central to set up the same community peace structures.
Okay, thank you for explaining that. I just also wanted to find a bit more information. We hear that there was a visit to Reverend Ezekiel Dachomo. Can you give us a bit of insight into that, especially because he's been a very strong voice speaking about the state of insecurity?
Okay, thank you so much. So my visit was strategic. I've been engaging him for quite a while online and different platforms through some of our Citizens Assembly volunteers who are residing in Barikin Ladi. The visit was to hear his concern, document his concern, and assure him for Mr. President measures to addressing those concerns. So mine was to document his concerns, hear his concerns, and also assure him that the president is committed to addressing those concerns, and also to assure him that there's no threat to his life. The security agencies have been posted to his house to make sure that he's protected, and also concerns about the other factions that he has were also addressed. And at the same vein, we also visited some other stakeholders. So my visit to him was to also document some of his concerns. You could see the pictures that we took. He actually gave me some of the report of the incident that had been documented from his own hand, and his concern and his agitation were also expressed and taken note by my office.
Now, Dr. Essiet, we learned there was a closed-door session in Basa that brought several conflicting groups together. Was there any breakthrough during that meeting, and could you share some insights on how that happened?
So like I said, the closed-door section was like a continuous process of our peace dialogue. So the 2 groups that I met were the Irigwe Association and the Miyetti Allah in Basa local government. The 2 groups actually visited, if you check my social media page, actually visited my office about 2 months ago. They came from Jos to Abuja to visit my office and share concerns about some of their insecurity issues and some of the measures taken by the state government that have not been working. They share concerns about their 16-man committee report that they created since 2022, and the implementation have not started. And so I thought it was important for me to also bring the 2 groups together because they came differently. And as a leader and as a peace ambassador, it's important for me to bring the 2 groups together to sit them in one room and for us to discuss the gray area and to assess how the 2 groups have been doing in terms of fulfilling their mandate in the 16-man committee. So the 16-man committee that was created by the last administration in Plateau State has 50% of Miyetti Allah group and 50% of Irigwe people, and they committed themselves to points that they felt this, when you accomplish this one, it will maintain and sustain peace in Plateau State and specifically in Basa local government. So we felt it was important for us to bring the 2 groups together because everybody just wants their voices to be heard. Everybody wants peace, and as peace ambassador, as a peace ambassador working for the president, it's important for us to make sure that we broker that peace deal and make sure that everybody is committed to that peace agreement. At the same vein, I've also communicated my report of my engagement with the state governor of Plateau State for him to also understand some of the measures that we are taking and for him to also fulfill his own part by making sure that some of the provisions of the state government are also implemented in that peace agreement. So basically it was about the peace agreement which both groups visited my office in Abuja to discuss with me.
All right. We'll go on a quick break. We do have 1 or 2 more questions to share with you, but we'd like your responses to them. But first of all, I ask that you stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're discussing a very critical issue concerning Nigeria's insecurity and, of course, peace conflict. the federal government had sent a peace envoy to ensure that they establish peace in very critical areas. And we're talking with a guest. Our guest happens to be the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, North Central, Dr. Abiodun Essiet. I'm also told we have another guest joining us, which will continue the conversation in a bit. But let's just wrap up the conversation with Dr. Essiet before we move to our next guest. Doctor, very quickly, I know I'd asked a question initially at the start of this conversation. And my question was pretty much on the issue regarding the statement that was made by the United States. Now, I'm going to highlight it again, and I really need your answer on this. There are responses, reactions from different quarters that this peace envoy, even though you've mentioned that it has been in existence for quite a while, that it has been heightened as a result of what was said by the United States to prove that Nigeria is indeed doing all it can. Can you share with us if it's as a result of what was said by the United States, or this is quite different and has no relationship with that?
Thank you so much. So like I said initially, what we're doing has been an ongoing process, and we have documentation of our peace engagement that has happened in Plateau State for the past 1 year. It's a continuous process. And like I said, we actually launched the North Central Peace Summit, was held in Jos, where we actually had conversations with community leaders, tribal leaders across the North Central region for them to share concerns about community challenges and peace challenges in their various community. And the highlights of the event was actually a fireside chat with the former Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Busa, where I had a conversation with him about feedbacks from the community. So it's something we've been doing, and like I said, you could check our pages and our website for proper documentation so that you can properly document this. And this is not as a result of what is happening or what President Trump has said. President Trump has raised important issues, and the federal government and the foreign affairs are also managing in terms of responding to that. But for my office, we've been engaging. It's really unfair for people at the social media group or different pages to think the issues about Plateau State just started yesterday. It has been decades of historical mistrust, which people in that state can acknowledge. Things that have been happening for decades. And unfortunately, the president's administration inherited this historical mistrust that's been coming up, and also that has resulted in some of level of killings, terrorists, kidnapping, and banditry. So this is what we've been managing. Like I said, I've been in Plateau State on several occasions to engage deliberately with members of the communities, engage them, get their concerns, which are documented on all our social media pages and all our website, which are also documented by your own news media cameramen. The last one was the launching of the community peace structure, which Plateau State happens to be the third state. We've started from Kogi. We've done the one for Benue, and Plateau State is now the third state. So this was not as a result of what President Trump has said. As has been as a result of what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been doing, which is trust and putting the community at the center stage by creating the SSAs on community engagement, who are meant to get the impulses of the community and convey those impulses to Mr. President. Last week, Monday, we had a community briefing with Mr. President, sharing with him details, data, and statistics of issues that are happening across our region, and he acknowledged and promised that was going to act on it, and with immediate and prompt responsibility. And I've had good conversation with different security agencies who has helped us in managing and prioritizing community concern. Recently in Nasarawa State, in Akwanga local government, I was just given a chieftaincy title of Tuarawa of that chiefdom based on my work in addressing the conflict and addressing the insecurity issues in that community. For 5 years, the chief was not able to sleep in his community because of kidnapping and crisis. And due to his involvement in my office and due to him reaching out to my office, we're able to restore peace in that community. You could see the document of that chieftaincy that it done. And it's one of the steps to show that, we have actually been working before now. The community is a Christian community in Zinakwanga local government, and you could check that out. And this chieftaincy, I accepted it because it was a gesture from the community to appreciate what I have done in addressing and sustaining peace in their community. For the first time in 5 years, they could sleep peacefully. They are not afraid of being kidnapped or being attacked in the night. And that's to show that we have been doing this engagement prior before President Trump made any comment on this. It's for us as media organization to do proper investigation on what our office has been doing and also balance the side of the story. Thank you so much.
Congratulations on the Tara Rawa. I hope I got it right. That has been bestowed upon you. Congrats.
Thank you
well
much.
done. Well done.
All right, we've had a conversation with Dr. Abiodun Essiet, who's a Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement North Central. We'll now be joined by the Director General of the International Institute of Professional Security, Tony Ofoyetan. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure to have you. We're continuing the conversation still about the response and the latest meetings that have been had. We just concluded a conversation with the SSA to the President on Community Engagement North Central, and my colleague had asked if what we're seeing is as a result of the response to the statement made by the United States President, which he said is not, and that is a reflection of the work, the ongoing work that has been done by the current administration that's only just been highlighted now. Do you share same sentiment?
For community engagement, the government have been engaging community at different levels. So that one is not new. It's not an office that has been recently created. In fairness to her, of course, she has been doing her own bits. But you and I know that the problem is not with the community engagement. And the actual problem is not with the community. I think that is where we are not getting it right. The actual attack, in most cases, is not from the community itself. We could have participants, criminals at the level of the community. We could have infiltrators. We could have informants at the level of the community. We could have people that are sympathetic to the cause of the terrorists at the level of the community. But the actual attack is coming from outside. We have external machineries that are actually being funded, being orchestrated by people that think, they need to do that. So I think that the problem is not with the community engagement. We've had several avalanche of peace talk, peace meetings all over the country, not just in Plateau, not in Benue, all over the country. High power delegation, middle power delegation, low power delegation. But that's not the issue, and that's not the solution. The solution, in actual fact, has to do with, talking about pure kinetic approach. And when I say kinetic approach, I mean kinetic approach, unadulterated kinetic approach. That should be the first foundational approach. After that, you now begin to talk about non-kinetic approach. But starting with a non-kinetic approach or sustaining a non-kinetic approach without having to establish your military force, your military might, and your military capability against the terrorists is only doing what? It's only emboldening and encouraging the terrorists as it were. Now you are talking of, for example, you are talking about Plateau State, Benue State, Borno State, and many other states that have been, attacked severally. Now we have also told government what to do severally. Unfortunately, we are not seeing this thing being done the way it ought to be done. And why? Because there have been a lot of consideration, political consideration, ethnic consideration, religious consideration, even maybe cronies consideration and all those stuff like that. They all become a major consideration that now becomes what? Vulnerability point for those that are going to work against terror, that are going to fight against terrorism. And also it becomes also an emboldening point for the terrorists. So if government is going to be true to itself, that means that the government must develop a higher political will when I say political mean, I mean real political will to be able to fight terrorism headlong. You are talking about fighting infiltration first. And that should be the first thing, because the terrorists, they have been able to infiltrate our security agencies. They have been able to infiltrate our religious communities. They've been able to infiltrate all our communities. And all, when I say all, I mean all. All Nigeria as a whole, terrorism has infiltrated. It's just a matter of executing it stage by stage, state by state, or region by region. If you go to every nook and cranny of this nation, terrorist soldiers are already on ground, only waiting for the command. What are we talking about? Okay. These are areas that government should first of all look at. Who are those that are sympathetic to this cause of terrorism in the political class? Who are those that are sympathetic to the cause of terrorism in the religious class? Who are those that at every step government want to take against the terrorists, they will all come out to say that, no, government should not do that. If government do that, it will be worse. If government attack them, it will be worse than them. Why would you say it will be worse? That means you are sympathetic to their cause. Why would you stand against the military when the military is assaulting the terrorists? That means you are sympathetic. Those set of people should be behind bars. Those set of people should be kept quiet, because what they are already acting as what? Sympathetic sleeper cell to the terrorists. Now, these are the group of people that go, who are, as in the military too, who are those that surreptitiously or overtly or even covertly are supporting the act of terrorism? Who are those that are giving information leading to ambushment of our soldiers, our policemen? Who are those? The military should be able to look inward, fish them out, flush them out, as it were. The concept of repentant terrorism should be cancelled entirely, and they should be made to face their prosecution 100%. Now, when government begin to do things like this, our ungoverned spaces in Nigeria are avalanche. They are too much. If government is able to recover all ungoverned spaces in Nigeria, if government is able to do what? Also take over all communities that have been taken over by these terrorists, then we now begin to know that truly government is serious. It's not a matter of community meeting. Community meeting is just at the level of no-kinetic approach. It's okay, but that will be okay on the condition that you are not going to be having any external forces again. The problem we have is not within our Christian or Muslim neighbors. No. In Nigeria, religion is not a problem. It's just those that are using religion as a bait and as instrumentality. I stay among people that are Muslims and Christians, and churches and mosques are even built very close to each other. In the south here, there's nothing like burning of churches or burning of mosques. In the south here, how come it is in the north there? Because some people are using it as a major instrument through which to be able to perpetrate their acts. And these are areas that I think that the government should begin to look at. When you arrest terrorists, when you arrest people that are sympathetic to the act of terrorism, why would you hand them over to their governors and say that they are repentant? What gives you the impression that the impetus, belief, and confidence to say that they are repentant? At the end of the day, we've had many of them going back again to that same camp, and you have declared them as repentant. We have seen many of such cases, or had many of such cases rather. Now, at the end of the day, if there is no consequence, or governors, religious leaders will come out to say that these people should be released and be reentrenched back into the society, those set of people should be impeached from their offices. It doesn't work in a serious-minded community. Saudi Arabia is almost 100% or 98% Muslim community. Go and look at the demeanor of Saudi Arabia to terrorism. Iran, Iraq, they are all Muslim countries. Go and look at their demeanor, their attitude towards terrorism. Terrorism does not give any nation peace. Terrorism does not give any nation prosperity. So if we are being surreptitiously and pretentiously accommodating terrorism under whatever guise, I can assure you that whatever America has said is just a strike play, because at the end of the day, it will be executed. If the government did not want this thing to be executed, they know what to do, not community meeting.
Okay, Mr. Tony. Mr. Tony, yes. I mean, we've heard you. You've spoken quite at length and highlighting some of the major challenges. So we can rightly say, from your point, we deduce that community is not just enough. It's one of the steps, but it's not the major step. Do you agree that terrorism has been politicized? And if you do, what do you think the president can do now, especially apart from holding a global denunciation of the religious war on international news media? Because we do see government officials talking to the international press and trying to break it down, for the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the likes. What else do you think the president can really do now? Let's look for solutions.
Well, for me, the president should be able to give all those that are responsible for counter-terrorism in this country, those that are responsible for arresting terrorists, prosecuting terrorists, give them a timeline within which to deliver. And not just give them a timeline, give them the necessary political backing. And I can assure you that if he gives all the new service chiefs the necessary political backing to say clear off every terrorist in this country, irrespective of who's or is gone, give them 3 months, give them 6 months. I can assure you that the issue of terrorism will be a thing of the past in this country. Then, of course, the legal regime of counter-terrorism should be activated and, of course, made to be very, reliable. That simply means that those that have been accused of terrorism, terrorism financing and the like, should be brought to the book. They should be prosecuted, and it should be made clear to the people. They should be able to bring out. Now we talk about the 400 list of terrorist financiers in this country that were, given to us by what's the name of this country during President Buhari's time. And for one reason or the other, a serious-minded country is shielding those set of people. Why would you shield those set of people? Do you think you can achieve any result? Then the government should come all out. The information we have about them, those that are actually indictable, indict them, take them to court, prosecute them and convict them. Those that ought to be killed, kill them. Those that ought to be jailed, jail them. Now, that will bring confidence into the people. It will also interest organization. Once their leaders are being prosecuted, the field soldiers who are the boys in the forest, they are mere field soldiers. They will run for their lives. They will find safety. But once they know that their leaders are still there, you arrest them now. In another 24 hours, there's one big man with agbada that will come to the police station or make call for their release. Arrest that big man. Arrest that person that is making call for their release. Arrest that person immediately. Let DSS do its own job at that point in time. Once they know that if I make any call or I come or I send somebody, that person is in trouble. And the police soldier know that once I am arrested, nobody is coming for me. Now that becomes a total blockade to any escape route. Now if the government is going to do all those, and I think that another thing the government can do, they have been using lips to attend to it, and I don't know why, is the issue of state policing. The state policing as it were now, it's not an absolute solution. It's a contributory solution. And it's a solution that can go very far. When each state becomes responsible for its own security, at that point in time, all you just need is a central policing command. The structure may not change other than the fact that you now have a state police that is answerable to its own security. That means that we can now hold each governor responsible. The load will now be removed from the president at that federal level. Each state now become answerable. For now, we all heap the load of all the states, 36 states in Nigeria, on Mr. President. Meanwhile, we have executive officers in each state. But you can't blame them much because they don't have the absolute power to control the commissioner of police in their state or the GOCs and the like, because those people have their command and control right from Abuja. So at the end of the day, if you have a state policing system that is able to coordinate its own domestic security, then we can now hold each governor accountable to any security failure in their state. Now that will help a lot. We already have state policing to some extent, except for the fact that they don't bear arms. So if we already have things like maybe we have Lasma, you have Sokoto Masha, you have Benue, Bisek, and all those stuff like that. Now, if we already have all this, the only difference is that they have not been armed. And because they have not been armed, the terrorists have what? Higher advantage over them. And painfully too, the police is mopping small arms from evil civilians that ought to bear arms are not bearing arms because you don't want the issue of proliferation of arms in the country. And unfortunately, the terrorists don't need your license to bear AK-47 or AK-49. They don't need your license. So the people are at disadvantage and the terrorists are at advantage. So if you don't want the people to bear arms, why don't you empower state policing, state-funded security or paramilitary apparatus to be able to do what? Complement the effort of the police. Then another thing which is very important that I think that the government can be thinking about is investing heavily in security technology. There are areas you cannot access. Why are we not investing in technology? There are drones that are assault drones in the comfort of DHQ headquarters, Naval headquarters, Air Force headquarters, without even using the normal chopper, assault chopper, helicopters and the like, drone can access the most remote part of Sambisa Forest and do its own assault and combat, within a twinkle of an eye. When America say our attack will be swift, it will be fast, it will be precise. I'm sure you know the meaning of that. America does not need to send troops to Nigeria. They don't need to send any battalion to Nigeria. In the comfort of America, they can send drones to specific areas that they think are areas that they want to use to pass a message. Now, why can't Nigeria on its own invest in technology and be able to do that which America is contemplating of doing at the end of the day? Because it's simple. We have the common enemy, the terrorist. It does not make any difference who they are. A terrorist is an enemy of the nation. So why is Nigeria so, complacent to the extent that we handle the issue of terrorism with kid gloves as if it's normal? Maybe because some of them have not been victims of terror. As an average Benue man, he will tell you America should come. As an average Plateau man, he will tell you America should come. As an average man from the places that have been attacked in Kwara State today, he will tell you America should come. Why? Because they are involved, because they are the victims. It's not a matter of the propaganda we're busy propaganda. There's no genocide or there's genocide. The issue of genocide is just mere semantics. The fact remains that people are being killed in their hundreds, in their thousands, almost on daily basis in this country. So, and that is what government should concentrate on and not concentrate on the semantics of it is genocide, it is not genocide.
Mr.
It's
Tony,
Christian genocide or it's Muslim genocide and all those stuff like that. That is more or less like running away from the substantive issue.
Okay, Mr. Tony, I know you also highlighted the issue of state policing and the genocide. In other words, you've also agreed that in any way we shouldn't handle this case with kids' gloves. But in the case of state policing particularly, there are fears that there could be an excessive, unbridled force action, especially when you have each state. And you mentioned except some of the states will not be using guns. I don't know how possible that is in line with what Nigeria is facing now.
No, I didn't say some of this. I said once state is empowered to have its own police, they will be empowered to also bear arms. Okay. And that will be, it will not be an advantage. It will remove the load on the federal government. Now, the issue of whether police will be abused or not is still the same thing. If you have the might to use police at the state level, that means you are also powerful enough to have one or two people at the federal level to ask police to be used to your own advantage. It's the same thing. Let's not deceive ourselves. It is high time we started thinking outside the box. The issue of state police is just those that are opposing it. You ask, why are you opposing it? They will say there's no fund. Who told you there's no fund? Each state in Nigeria today has its own paramilitary agency. They can call it traffic agency, whatever they call it. Each state in this country has already positioned itself to state policing. They pay them salary. Last month, are they not receiving salary? Lagos State Neighborhood Watch, are they not receiving salary? You have Sokoto Masha, are they not receiving salary? In Benin State, in Edo State, they have their own this thing. Bebeagu and all those stuff like that. Are they not receiving salary at the end of the month? What is the difference between them and state police, other than the fact that they are not bearing arms? That's all. All you need to do is train them in the act, train specific squad in that same agency, in the act of bearing arms. Train them the issue of human rights and all those stuff like that. When GSM came, there was initial casualty, but today everybody is using DMSM with zero or no casualty at that level. No, the issue of that people will abuse it, people will not abuse it. What is the level of people that will abuse it? They are the people that are at that level, high and mighty. If they are high and mighty, whether it is at federal level or at state level, they have the capacity to use any police they choose to use if the police decide to be used. But in the absence of that, for goodness sake, I don't see any reason why we should begin to dial on the issue of state policing. It is a way to go now. And that is also a way that will show to the world that we are actually truly serious about what we are talking about. It's as simple as that.
All right. State policing is the way to go, and it's the way in which we show the world that we are as serious as we claim to be. Also, the semantics, I like that you addressed the semantics in terms of what some will refer to as the non-kinetic means of fighting insecurity. We hope that that comes to the fore, and that that's something that we look into, our government looks into, because there seems to be a great level of discontent in that area. People saying that you can't come and be granting people pardon who have inflicted so much damage, in our country. But thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for joining and speaking so passionately from your heart. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me, and have a blessed week.
You too.